Going into Vow of the Disciple, I had upwards of 5 or 6 builds ready to go, each build utilizing different armor pieces, but I was still able to maintain the same high tier stats no matter what I was running. I was able to do this because I had farmed for high stat armor pieces that could fit into multiple different builds. What's going on, guys? It's G-Miners here, and in today's video, we are going over how to get high stat rolled armor in Destiny 2, the Witch Queen. I did want to mention that right now, GamerSupps is doing their Mystery March event. Every Friday, new limited edition waifu cups are going to be released. This is a collector's item for a lot of people. There is a limited quantity available, so if you want it, don't wait. Even if you're not a fan of the art style and are just buying samples or a tub, using code GM or clicking the link in my description is the best way to support me other than watching the videos, and you get yourself a nice 10% off. Okay, so to start off, I want to go over the differences between pieces of armor. These are things like base stat rolls, stat increases from mods that you can get, increases from subclasses, and masterworked armor. On any regular legendary piece of armor, the highest stat roll that you can get currently is a 68 base roll. Exotics can and will regularly roll higher than this. I believe they go up to 72, at least that's the highest roll I've heard of on any exotic. If you have any legendaries that do have a base that is higher than 68, these are rewards from older activities or activities that actively dropped higher than base armor. But 68 rolls are now the consistent high stat roll for all armor. Each armor piece can also be masterworked. Masterworking an armor piece adds +2 stat points in each area. This will bring a 68 roll up to an 80. By then adding a general stat boost mod, this will increase an armor piece by 10 stat points in any one area. So with a 68 roll, a masterwork, and this mod, you would now have a 90 stat total piece of armor. In general, this is where most players will stop in terms of focusing their stat distribution. Most players stop here because in order to increase your stats further, you need to use combat style mods and subclass fragments. As nice as this is for an extra stat boost, using both of these things oftentimes limits the builds that you can run. Without these combat style mods and fragments, you would reach 90 stat points on each armor piece. For 4 total pieces, this would be 360 total points. Our class item would also end up giving us a small boost as it can be masterworked and fit with the general stat mod. This would be an additional 22 points for a new total of 382 stat points. At 382 points, this is now enough to get 3 different stats, each tier 10 or 100 points each. But know that getting these stats to tier 10 will heavily depend on the distribution of these stats on the armor that you get. This comes down to luck and what is known as stat buckets. These buckets exist in the back end of Destiny and essentially control the total amount of stats that can exist within the top 3 and bottom 3 stats on any one piece of armor. So with 382 total stat points as our base, if we did end up using combat style mods and fragments on subclasses, how high could we realistically get? Well, the only 2 combat style mods that provide stat bonuses are going to be Powerful Friends, which is a +20 increase to mobility, and Radiant Light, which is a +20 increase to strength. This would take our total stats from 382 up to 422, but if we use Stasis or the newly added Void 3.0 subclasses, we are able to get an additional 50 points as well. On Stasis, this is going to require all 4 fragment slots. The fragments Whisper of Durance, Shards, and Chains will provide 10 strength, resilience, and recovery respectively. And then Whisper of Conduction, which is the 4th fragment, will add both 10 intellect and 10 resilience. The new total amount of stat points would now be 472. So just by using mods and a subclass 3.0 build, you are now easily able to get 4 stats to 100 points, aka tier 10. I'm not going to go over the Void subclass fragments as there are much more that provide bonuses than the Stasis subclass, but the max stat points you can get from Void 3.0 is still going to be +50. Real quick, before I go over how to effectively farm for God Roll armor, if you guys found this video useful, don't forget to like and sub down below. Subbing is completely free, it helps me out a ton, and you can always change your mind later. Ultimately, getting 4 stats to tier 10 is going to come down to getting the God Rolled armor itself, which is what the main part of this video is about. So in the current season, what is the best way to do this? To answer this question, I'm going to list what I think are the best sources to target farm in this season based on how easy things are to complete. Also, before I go over this list, make sure to always be running a Ghost with the Armorer mod for whichever stat you are looking for. This is a great way to help control the distribution of the drops that you get. Number 1 is going to be Master Wellspring. This activity drops high stat roll Veritas armor as a common drop. This is also new to the season and drops exclusive attunement weapons, so players are going to be farming this activity all season long. I have LFG'd this multiple times, and as long as players have every champion mod on and play somewhat smart, it is a super easy clear, which is why I think this is going to be the best way to farm armor this season, especially if playing solo. Number 2 are the weekly campaign missions on the Legend and Master difficulty. This allows players at different skill levels to still have chances for high stat rolled armor. Legend is an uncommon drop, and Master makes this armor a regular common drop. This is only going to take 3 players, which requires less matchmaking for those that just don't have a full team of 6. Just like Master Wellspring, you can also get Ascendant Ally doing this, so this is a great way to get crafting materials while farming for armor. These missions can take a while, but I think they beat matchmaking for those that have a solid team of 3. Number 3 on the list is going to be Master Raids. Currently, we only have Master Vogue, but Master Vow will be coming sometime in the near future. Master Raids provide focused armor drops, which are a bit different than high stat rolls in that every drop you get will focus on a particular stat. This week's Master Vogue is strength focused, so if you wanted, you could run this and any armor drop you get will guarantee to roll with, I believe, at least 10 strength, but more realistically, I think this is somewhere around 15 to 20 based on the armor that I have gotten personally. The reason this isn't number 1 on the list is because you do have to wait sometimes up to 5 weeks for Master Raids to rotate to focus a stat that you want. Lastly, number 4 on this list are the regular versions for raids. Raids are still one of the best sources for high stat roll armor, and these are much easier than their master versions. A lot of the armor I used for my day 1 builds came from the regular version of Vogue. Seeing as Vow was just released as well, and you will most likely be running this all season long, make sure to pay attention to the armor drops you get for good stat rolls and good distributions. Before I end the video, I did want to go over some honorable mentions. Dungeons like Grasp of Avarice and Prophecy should also still drop decent stat distribution on armor. Some people have told me that Master Grasp has great drops. I personally haven't found this to be consistently true, so I didn't add it to the main list. The same exact thing goes for Dares of Eternity and its Legend version as well. Anyways, that is all for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything or if there are places you prefer to farm. Hope this video helps. Peace.